Today on Halftime of the Footy, we speak to the man who's responsible for getting East Perth back on track and finals bound in 2012.
And is that a mark? What a great mark taken there.
The mighty Royals are back in the hunt for premiership success after finishing a disappointing 7th last year. It has been 10 years since East Perth have played in a grand final.
Congratulations again to the East Perth Football Club.
But coach Tony Micale is not getting carried away. Tony, East Perth are sitting comfortably in the top 4 at the moment. Where have the changes come from?
Firstly, I wouldn't call it comfortable, Rod, but we're really pleased with the improvement, and there isn't any doubt. I think there's just been a greater unity in the club. We've done a lot of work as far as that's concerned. We've recruited extremely well. We've got some quality recruits, and there's been a genuine evenness across the board that's contributed to the success that we've had so far.
You had a big recruiting season the year before, and then you finished 7th. Must have been pretty disappointing.
Yeah, it was. There were a lot of things that went wrong the year before, and look, in going forward, is that we've been really pleased with what the recruits that we've picked up this season have contributed. But it hasn't been just the recruits. It's been, as I said, right across the board.
Was there a learning curve to learn from 2011?
You always learn. You never stop learning in footy, and certainly we learned some valuable lessons from that. But we've undertaken a very, very strong leadership program this year. We've been very, very rigid with our game plan and our style of play, and we've put a lot of work into that area, and in particular with our development of our young players. So they're the key factors that probably come out of the season before.
Adzi and Smithy working really well there. You're presenting, giving us those options.
The coaches, the coaching group as well, have worked particularly hard in the development aspect of the football club this year, as well as developing quality leaders and people.
You added Josh Smith in 2011. What makes him probably the best forward in the comp at the moment?
Very professional. Obviously, he's had great experiences being in the AFL system. He's had great education. He's a quality player. He's a quality person, and probably more than anything, he works hard at his trade. He's always first at training. He's always one of the first out on the training track prior to training. He's always working extremely hard, and he gets the rewards for that effort.
Who's been your most important addition to the club this year?
Good question. I think that it's been a general improvement right across the board. As I said, I think the most important area that we've taken upon ourselves this year is that the group have combined in developing a shared vision and values, and that's been done through a quality leadership program, and we believe that we've selected out of that a quality leadership group, and in turn that's filtered down right throughout the group from not only the coaches but the players as well. And I think one of the strengths of our football club this year, without a doubt, has been the fact that it's not our senior players. There's been an even contribution right across the board, and I think that's been vindicated in our performances, where our worst performances have been losses by 4 goals or less.
Is it an exciting time for you and the club, getting it all back on track?
Yeah, it is. We can see finally that we're building something solid here. In previous years, there's been a lot of departures. We've brought a lot of people in and a lot of people have gone, but there seems to be a real solidarity this year where at this time of the year in particular, when you get towards the end of June, players get offered fairly serious money from the country and so on. We haven't had any of that this year. The group that we've started with have stuck. That's a really good sign. And we feel as though the program that we offer the players here, the coaching that we have at the football club, gives them the best opportunity. The facilities that we're building gives them the best opportunities to achieve their goals. So that's been a really pleasing feature of the year.
There's still a few games to go, but are you capable of winning a premiership?
Our target is to be the best that we can for this season and continually improve, and we're working very, very hard on that. Should that give us that end result, obviously we'd take it. But our key focus is working on being the best that we can be, going from good to great, and continually improving.
It's been 10 years since you won your last premiership. Players like Craig Wolf and Michael Swan been fantastic for you. But is the opportunity closing for those couple of players?
There's no doubt they have a smaller window than a lot of other players, and there's no one keener and working harder than we only know Craig Wolf and Michael Swan do. You see that week in, week out, the way they contribute or perform. So there's a smaller window for those. It's not over yet, and I still think that they've got more football left in them. But obviously they're working very, very hard, and they've been a couple of those major contributors that I talked about earlier in steering the club in the right direction.
We know East Perth have got great supporters. It's been a great club for a long time. What does East Perth pride itself on the most?
Their spirit. I think that their spirit and their tradition. There's no doubt about that. I love coaching the footy club. I think that they come from a blue collar background and they know nothing else but to give their utmost, and that's one of our key indicators. Is that we ensure of giving our absolute best in every contest that we're in, and we get great support from our supporters as far as that aspect's concerned.
We know how passionate the East Perth supporters are. We've seen that against West Perth. Have they been patient over the years?
I think that they've had a pretty good run in terms of. I'm not exactly sure of the figures in terms of how many premierships the footy club's won, but I think from the point of view that traditionally and culturally the club's been a very, very competitive club always. And I think that's one of the great things that they can hang their hat on. I think that's a great tradition and culture that the club have established, is that every time this footy club goes out onto the football field, they give their best, and I think that's all our supporters expect, and that's all they can ask for. And I think they've had a pretty good return as far as that's concerned, and that's obviously our main aim week in, week out.
What about the man that's been responsible for a lot of that success? How's he going?
Yeah, look, thoroughly enjoying my role, very much so. I've found that this year, probably more particularly than any other year, I've needed to reinvent myself, and I've enjoyed that challenge. There isn't any doubt there's a major generation gap in terms of my age compared to the young players that I'm dealing with. So I've had to make changes, and I've had some mentoring as well, and that's been more than valuable, and hopefully that's showing in our results. But really enjoying the challenge, and still as passionate as ever.
What about the future for Tony Micale?
Continuing to do the best that I can, and helping young players develop, and educate players, and assisting them in being the best footballers and people that they can be.